All right, good evening and welcome to the March 1st meeting of the Public Works Committee of the Albany County Legislature. My name is Nathan Brusca, and I have the pleasure of serving as the chair of this committee. Would the council please call the roll?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bruschi,
Here.
O'Brien,
Present.
Bergdorf,
Here.
Cleary.
Here.
Fine,
Here.
Tunney,
Here.
Peter,
Here.
Reinhardt,
Okay.
Are you with CJ?
I'm here.
and Smith.
Here.
9 present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Council. All right, we got a few items on the agenda today, 9 items total. The first is approving the previous meeting minutes. Do I have a motion on that?
Move. Second.
Moved by Mr. Bergdorf and seconded by Mr. Cleary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say no. All right, we are carrying that. First item under current business is to authorize an agreement with Denoyer Chevrolet regarding the purchase and delivery of 3 2022 Chevrolet Blazer 3LT trucks. And I was talking with the council earlier about this. These were the low bidders. Is there a representative from Sheriff's Office to talk about this one? I think it's pretty straightforward. Can I get a motion on this one?
I
He's
have
Oh, Mr.
the
Berger,
sheriff's
sorry,
entering
sorry.
right now.
Jesus
Mr.
Christ.
Bergdorf.
I just have a quick question. Actually, I think Denoyer was the only bidder. We've purchased police vehicles in a whole bunch of different ways. We've done it off a mini bid. We have done it through a leasing agency, and now we're back to bid, and it's kind of unique that there's only one bidder. I'm just wondering if there's been any strategic change in procurement.
None whatsoever.
Sheriff, thank you for joining us. Sheriff
There's a-
Hassel.
I was on the phone. I was on the phone with the county exec. I apologize for being late. So we lease a lot of our patrol vehicles and our patrol vehicles only, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 additional. We still purchase some vehicles. These 3 Blazers, they were in fact the low bidder. I don't believe they were the only bidder. I'm glad they were the low bidder because they're a county business, which we don't normally get the pleasure of dealing with. But these 3 vehicles are to replace some of the larger vehicles that we have that are high mileage and older in age. These are smaller, more economical. And this is 2021 money, I believe.
I have absolutely no problem with it. I was just curious if there was some sort of different change in the thoughts for procurement.
Honestly, Paul, I don't want to have 100% of our vehicles being leased. I haven't seen anything wrong with it, but I really don't want to be beholden to, our entire fleet to a leasing company.
Understood.
Thank you, Sheriff. Mr. O'Brien.
Make a motion to move this, please.
I'll second it.
So move, and then it's Mr. Tunney. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed say no. All right, that carries. Thank you. We're now moving on to item number 3, which is to authorize an agreement. And I'm not sure how to say this. Angarame, is that right?
Angarame.
Architects, Angarame. 3rd time's a charm. This is for engineering and services over at Shaker Place. They're building the garage next to the site there. Welcome. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for membership, or do you want to keep this up, Larry, at all?
Yeah, I'll just say that Angarame Architects has done work before at the nursing home. This was through the RFP process 2021-132, and they were the lowest responsible bidder at $208,750 to be the architect of record. This is part of our capital plan that was approved by the legislature.
Outstanding.
Mr. Chair.
I see Mr. Bergdorf's finger.
Just a quick question, Larry. I understand that the garage will ultimately be paid for by state reimbursement.
Yeah, we will submit through the CON process. We got verbal approval from the New York State Department of Health because it's to house nursing home vehicles. It will be constructed up on the hilltop. I do want to mention that this project, which this architectural firm is aware of, and this dollar amount includes the expansion of that garage to include DPW vehicles that will also be housed in that garage and moved from across the street up to the hilltop. So while my bond approval is pending, I'll be presenting this week for the issuance but the bond itself was approved by the ledge as well as the capital plan, will eventually be amended to expand the actual project itself, but not the architectural fee. That is already established. And when we submit the CON, in answer to your question, there may be a portion of this project in the construction cost that will not be reimbursable.
Okay, and is it your understanding, and I know Lisa is going to be on later, that that portion of costs is also covered under the capital plan?
Well, Lisa is going to, we're internally, let me reword that. We're internally discussing how we're going to handle the expansion of that garage. It makes more sense, probably, because Lisa's been involved from day one with this project, that I will amend my plan to include DPW versus submitting another plan, that ultimately has to be tied into this plan. So I think it makes more sense eventually to amend. We're not amending the capital plan, but we're amending the capital plan when we do the new capital plan. We're amending the project, not the capital plan itself. So when that is requested by management and budget, which will be in a few months, that'll amend not the architectural work, but the plan itself for the garage.
Okay, and when's your time frame for construction?
Well, the architect will take approximately 3 to 4 months. Then we'll do RFP for the construction company. That'll take another 2 months. Then I have to go back to the ledge for approval of whoever that company is. And then I'm guessing that the construction of that project should be anywhere between 6 and 9 months to build a garage. I see Dave Latina's on the call. He may know better than I as to the actual time that it would take to build a garage.
Okay, thank you very much. Very enlightening.
Any other questions from any members? Any motions?
Motion.
Mr.
Second.
O'Brien, second by Mr. Cleary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. All right, that carries unanimously. Moving on to MVP Arena.
Thank you.
We have item number 4, authorizes a lease for the rental of retail space for Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Where is,
Make a motion.
all right, motion by Mr. Cleary,
Second.
by Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Okay, also carries unanimously. Thank you for moving that along. Item number 5 is authorizing an agreement with New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation regarding the acceptance of grant funding and amending the 2022 Water Purification District budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to announce that we actually were awarded 2 grants from EFC, or Environmental Facilities Corporation. This is the first one. The grant amount is for $50,000. There are some conditions on acceptance of the grant. The first being that the county or the Water Purification District is required to match 20% of the grant amount. So in this case, it would be $10,000. In addition to that, we are also asking for authorization to name the executive director for the Water Purification District, aka myself. as the authorized representative, which is a requirement of EFC. And in addition to that, there's also a designation of seeker type 2 as a condition of acceptance as well. As mentioned, we are also seeking a budget amendment to basically create a new revenue line to take that money in from EFC and then reappropriate that to an engineering fee line, which was already established in the 2022 budget.
Outstanding. Any questions to the members?
Quick
Mr.
question.
Bergdorf.
Angelo, the type 2 only applies to the acceptance of the grant, right? It's not the project.
So EFC, and I don't know why this is, but EFC, I think this is a new thing as of this year, requires that we designate the study itself as a type 2 action, but the project itself is not. We will have to do a full seeker on that side. Yep.
Yep. Okay. That was my understanding. Thank you.
All right. Any
Motion to move
Mr. O'Brien?
Motion to move.
Moves.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bergdorf. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Seeing none, that carries unanimously. All right, now we're moving to item number 6, which is authorizing agreement with New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation regarding the acceptance of a grant funding amending 2022 water purification district budget for the capital improvement study, separate item. Is there anything else that we should know about this one? Or can we?
Same. This is just for a capital plan that we're looking to do for basically a 10-year horizon. So it would put us in a better position to pursue grant opportunities in the future by having essentially the projects laid out for a longer period of time.
Outstanding. Have a motion on this one?
Move.
By Mr. Cleary, second by
So moved.
Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Also unanimous. Item number 7 is authorizing agreement with John W. Danforth Company regarding the replacement of 2 boilers at the Mercantile Building. Commissioner Latino, I think you're on mute.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
There you
The
are.
boilers have aged out at the Mercantile Probation Building. We want to enter an agreement through the town of Greece statewide job ordering contract with John W. Danforth, replacement of 2 boilers, higher efficiency boilers at the cost of $120,000, $485. That's actually with the 10% commission contingency fund. So hopefully it should only cost us $109,531.
Outstanding. Any questions from the members? Mr. Reinhardt.
Yeah, I have a question that's kind of a process question, I guess. I see only one set of numbers. Was this competitively bid? I mean, you mentioned the agreement with Greece, but were there other proposals submitted? I guess please explain that, because I'm not quite understanding how they bid on a state contract for a specific project like that.
Yeah, there's state contracts, and these companies are actually through a Gordian Group who wins the state contract to run these types of programs where all these companies are already vetted at the lowest possible price they could possibly have.
Stop your whining. They'll be right back.
So that's really where this pricing has come from, is that New York State already vets these projects and the U.S. community contracts or the state New York State contracts. So if you look back in your package, it's under actually a Gordian. What they do is they list the pricing, each price cost of each thing that they're doing, where you don't have that with regular bidding. So it's lowest price possible.
So they had just as an example, so they had a price for the boiler that was a quote before they actually knew the particulars of the specific project?
No, what they do is they go in and they look at the project. Let's just say if it's a construction project, they also do it under construction projects. If they want to do walls, if you want to move something, they are pre-pricing everything that you're going to do. So when they come in to look at the job, they can only charge you so much for this portion of it. They can only charge you so much per hour. They can only charge you this. That's why they're vetted through the U.S. Communities and or New York State Purchasing Division. It's one single pricing.
All right. I guess what I'm a little confused about is, are they like a pre-qualified set of bidders and then they are the only ones who can bid on the project? That could be one case. Or they're basically putting up their numbers before they even know the particulars of an RFP.
They're not putting up their numbers. They're setting their labor rates and markup rates on what they're doing.
Okay, and then are they the only ones who did that for this project?
For the New York State government, yes. They're, as far as that goes, they were the lowest price bidder on that for the New York State contract town of Greece that we're piggybacking on.
So I apologize. I'm just having a trouble understanding this. So when the town of Greece puts out their bid,
Right.
they didn't know the details of this project when they did that, did they?
They don't know the details of any project. What it is they're using it for, everybody can piggyback off this contract. What it is pre-priced bidding. So it's like, let's say instead of me going out and putting out an RFP and getting 3 quotes, they already know what the pricing is per hour.
Mhm.
They already know what the markup is on that. So there might have been 5 or 6 bidders through the Gordian process saying, okay, well, we're going to do a 10% or this one was going to do 15% markup. What they do is Danforth was the lowest bidder as far as their markups go and their labor costs go. That's why Danforth is working with Gordian on this project.
So Danforth then is the only one that essentially has an opportunity to give us pricing for this specific project?
If you want to do it on the U.S. Communities or the New York State purchasing contract. Otherwise, we have to put an RFP out in order to get 3 pricings for it. And the markups are probably going to be more and extend the project out further than this would take us. This has already been vetted by our purchasing department.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I don't want to hold up everybody longer. I'm kind of intrigued with exactly how this process works, but that's
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bergdorf.
Bill, this is something that we did at the Dormitory Authority. We called it by a different name. These were unit price contractors. And once every 3 years, for probably 20 different disciplines, we put out bids and came up with, vendors who agreed to do the work at the lowest possible price. And then that served as a pre-procurement, and our project managers could then use those vendors and cut probably 4, 5, 6 months off a project. And I think that's essentially what you're doing here, right, Dave?
That is correct.
okay.
Motion
All
to
right.
move it, please. Motion to move it.
Motion by Mr. O'Brien. Seconded by Mr. Tunney. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed say no. And that carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Penultimate item is authorizing an agreement with Sprint Communications Company LP regarding the relocation of buried fiber optic line along the Albany County Rail Trail Bridge over to Scotland Road.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Actually, I'm requesting that this RLA be pulled for this month because of a late development in the project. The agreement was written based on the notion that the project was going to be constructed this construction season and that Sprint was going to relocate their lines this spring. It turns out through the bidding process, we recently learned that steel for the project is not going to be available until late in the first quarter of 2023, which means that we won't be able to construct the bridge until next year, after all. So this agreement, we didn't have time to reach back out to Sprint and verify that this amount would be sufficient to cover the relocation, considering they're not going to want to relocate anything sooner than they need to. So theoretically, they were going to do it this spring. Now it's most likely that they're going to wait until the fall to do the relocation work. So once we get back together with Sprint and work on an updated agreement, I will be presenting this again.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner. Council, do we have to vote on anything or do we just table this?
I believe it's just withdrawn. Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong. It would just be withdrawn.
That's withdrawn by sponsor. That's correct.
Withdrawn by sponsor. Thank you very much, Commissioner. Our final item, item number 9, is authorizing a lease agreement for the rental office space of the Department of Mental Health, Office Building Public Defender Association, DBA Lead, National Support Bureau.
Hey, good evening, committee members. So this is a request to offer some office space at the Department of Mental Health for the lead project managers who were recently brought on board last June to kind of revitalize the lead initiative and kind of look towards expanding the lead initiative to other municipalities in Albany County. They've obviously been working remotely throughout the pandemic, and they don't necessarily have a home. And we thought that because of the significant amount of collaboration and cooperation, almost on a daily basis with the departments of mental health, public defender's office, as well as probation and social services, there would be significant benefits to co-locating the project managers at the Department of Mental Health. Moreover, as we look towards expanding this initiative to other municipalities in the county, we're going to lean very heavily on the relationships with the project managers, as well as the relationships that they have with some of the county departments. So it just seemed like a natural fit. On top of that, they had looked at some other areas as well, but those were charging rent, which is just going to drive up prices for the lead initiative as a whole, which would have been funded by the county anyway. So it made sense to kind of utilize this vacant office space for that purpose. The initial lease agreement would be for a 2-year term with 2 1-year options to renew, as well as an option to terminate pending a 60-day review period at the county executive's discretion. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take those.
Thank you, Mr. Alderson. Any questions to the members?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Cleary, seconded by Mr. O'Brien. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. And that carries unanimously. With that, we've reached the end of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
By Mr. O'Brien,
Seconded.
seconded by Mr. Bergdorf. All those in favor say aye. All right, and that's it for today. Mr. Fine will be ending on time, so the Zoom